Okay. So I'm so curious about that. I'm so curious how you guys feel about time versus money. I'm getting ready and eating breakfast when I'm done. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you want to drop something about it, you can, but you don't have to for sure. But I'm always really curious about this because, anyways, so I just want to like float that out there because I think I'm going to do a training over it of because the reason I bring this up is it has a lot to do with our mindset in our business and how we show up in our business and how we allow ourselves to receive in our business and what we also think is acceptable or what we are allowed to do, right? So a lot of times when people come into my world and they say they have this like idea around, oh, I should get this amount of time or it should be this thing versus focusing on the results. A lot of times when we look at that, it's also a lot of beliefs around how things should go. And so if that comes up for you, I mean, it's never right or wrong. I don't believe in right and wrong in my world, but it's always something to look at because I feel like when we look at things a certain way, it can block us from seeing things in a different way, if that makes sense, right? And so let me know if this is making sense because like when I have these high level conversations with my clients and we reframe this idea, it changes everything in their business because of the idea that if time should be traded for money, then a lot of times we're blocking ourselves from actually having money easily, right? If we have this big belief around being able to work, like make money without working hard. So I just want you to just really think about that because our brains are really sneaky and our brains will actually tell us a story around we should trade time for money. And it goes both ways. It goes either I have to work hard to make money. I can't just make money with ease, or I can't make a lot of money without working hard. And also, I trade time for money, right? And so I'm really curious. I'm going to give you guys a training. We're going to do something called the super swish, which is really cool. And I want to show you guys your own power today because normally I'm showing you guys how to code things in your brain and how we perceive them. But then if I today show you how to do this in a way where you actually do it from your power, because at the end of the day, I want you guys to know your own power. That is so important for me as a mentor to show you guys. And so we're going to kind of hold duality here of being aware around the thoughts we have around money. And if we have this story around it being hard to make money or having to work hard to make money, or in this container, if we have to be on the call for the full hour, watching it both ways, right? And then we're going to do a pattern that you guys, I'm not sure, Margot, if you've done it, but Heather, you have done a swish pattern with me, but you've never done this one with me. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm just going to read through the chat and I'm then going to have you guys write a few things down. I feel like I have to work and do all of this. My parents are always really stressed with time. And that's so good to notice because if we grow up with that and we always feel really stressed with time, then it feels natural and normal for us to feel stressed with time. And that shows up in our business. And it definitely shows up in our business as a way to have something with ease and flow. So that's a really good thing to catch and be like, oh, yeah, I have this thing. And I also have that where I found myself like hurrying and like, I'll be like, I have to do all these things. And really, I don't. It's just what my body and nervous system is used to. My grandpa used to drive trains and has to be really on time at work. Wow, that's so interesting. So interesting. And just getting really clear around what beliefs that we have and how they show up for us and how either they shape our reality, but how they might be blocking us too. Really just making note of that. And so if it's like, well, if I'm always stressed for time, how does that show up in my business or how does that show up with money? That might be a really fun exercise to do just to see what threads are there, right? And there might not be anything and there might be something that comes forward, right? But just getting really curious with like childlike curiosity around what all this is. So I'm just going to grab my notes because this fish pattern is really interesting. So do you guys have something to write down with? Do you have something? Yeah, cool. Okay. So I want you guys to write down Three bad habits that you have with either money or your business that you want to stop, right? And so this might look like procrastinating, overthinking, overspending, not saving. There can be anything. So just really like think of three things that you're like, this is something that I do all the time. It must feel natural and normal to me because it's a part of my reality that I do a lot, but I would like to stop it, right? And just let me know when that's done. And take all the time you need here. There's no rush. If we take the full hour, that's cool too. And if you need help with this, let me know. Yeah. So, what are some things in your business or with money that you want to stop? And so, for example, some things for you might have already come up in this container, right? So, and it could just be like a belief, right? It could be something else like that. Right. Yeah. So, like for me, procrastination is a big one. For me, a story that I'm not good at content is a big one. Um, for me, changing my spending habits, a lot of times, um, if our body isn't regulated around money, we can spend it very quickly and then we shame ourselves for spending it so quickly. And then it's like, you know, we don't allow ourselves to experience more of it because there's shame there. And the reason we're talking about all of this is I'm going to show you a few things. Well, I'm going to show you a lot in this very short amount of time. The first is how we code things in our body and how we experience them. So I can give you the tools on how to recode these yourself. I mean, like obviously I love you guys being in my world and obviously meeting weekly to have the space held for you to do this work is powerful, but I also want you guys to have these tools as well. I also want you to know your own power and that you do have power over anything that I'm ever going to teach you. Anything that I teach you is just bringing you back to your power. I don't override your power or your manifestation abilities, right? Okay. So does everyone have three things? Krista, we're writing three things down that we want to stop in our business and or with money. So it can be something like procrastination, overthinking, overspending, or it can even be beliefs like I'm not good at content, I don't like being on camera, whatever. So just three things that you want to not, like three things that you feel like that are in the driver's seat, but they're blocking you from having what you want. Does this make sense? Heather, was that helpful? Was that like a helpful explanation? Okay, cool. Okay, Margot, are you good? You have three things? Okay, amazing. And I just want you to just notice. So, well, let me check in with Heather and Krista. Do you guys have three things or are you guys good? I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving anyone behind. You're good? Okay, amazing. I have two. Yeah, that's fine. So I want you to take one, just one of them, and I want you to notice how it feels in your body. And then I also want you to notice how that picture shows up. Is it big? Is it bright? And so here's the thing that will probably help is if you think of specific time. So if procrastination is one, think of a specific time where you procrastinated and notice how big and bright. So the way that we code things is the things that are in the driver's seat. So that means that we think they are true, they are in control of us, and that they're really important, that our brain is basically indexing them as important. And this is why we have the patterns that we have, will always be big and bright and clear and vivid. So notice how you experience that. So when I think of procrastination, I get this kind of like feeling, like uncomfortable feeling in my stomach because I'm a big procrastinator. And when I think of a picture and how I experience pictures, it seems very like panoramic. Does that make sense? Like it's very like big. So just let me know if you're with me that this one thing, are you experiencing as like bright, big, vivid, because that will tell me how your brain is coding it and how we're going to recode it. So what's going on? Let me know. Are you experiencing it big and bright? Heavy and dark, but is it like big? Yeah, yeah. And it normally does. And so basically, what this is telling you is that your brain is coding this as this is important, this gets priority. Okay, that's what that's telling you. So if it's big, and so the picture, not necessarily how you're feeling in your body, but the picture of it. Does that make sense? So now I want you to think of a consequence of this thing. Okay. So a consequence of procrastination might be like, I'm going to lose cells or I'm going to beat myself up. And think of a specific time when you did this as well. And if you guys have any trouble, just let me know. I'm here to help. And I want you to think of like, let me think of a time that I procrastinated and what I fear. Like, I think my brain loves to tell me the story of like, and I think this stems from, having trauma when I was younger, is like, if I procrastinate, something really bad is going to happen. That's literally how I feel in my body, like almost panicky. Um, and the reason that I do this, it might not be your reason, but the reason I do this is because I'm trying to motivate myself, ironically, right? And so I'm like, oh my gosh, if you don't do this, something really bad is going to happen. But then ironically, it spins me out so much that then I procrastinate more. So just notice that cycle if that's the same for you. So for me, beating myself up and feeling really shitty anyways. The irony here is that I'm actually trying to avoid feeling shitty by procrastinating and then beating myself up, and then I end up feeling shitty either way. So that's the irony, right? So for me, it's like beating myself up is this byproduct, is the consequence, right? So what's a consequence for you guys? For yours. Mine's procrastination, but you do it for yours. And so if you want to share, you don't have to, but if you want to share, let me know what that looks like. But I also want you to notice how you experience it. Again, is it big? Is it small? Is it vivid? Is it colorful? Not. So we're noticing how it feels in the body, and then we're going back to neutral, and then we're going to visualize it. And is the visualization, is it big? Is it bright? Is it clear? Because you're going to start to notice what things are running the show will always be big and vivid and clear. And so what we want to do is we want to make those things really small, really grainy, really black and white. Because when we do that, our brain will not allow it to take the driver's seat, to be in control. Does this making sense? And if you guys have questions, please let me know. When making money is easy and comes in easily, I feel vulnerable. Yes, exactly. That's a great one. Probably a bit of angst or fear. This is new for me. Oh my goodness. So I love that you're seeing this. You know, you've been in my world. I went back and looked almost a year now. I want to say we first connected in like last March, I want to say, because I've been going back and like re-looking at like, you know, like old content, like stuff that I was putting out when, you know, people first came into the membership. And so you had a story, like two big ones that I can think of that I think are now kind of gone. But this is such a great example of how fear never goes away completely. I know it's so crazy to see the evolution of just you and how you show up, but also your business, right? But sorry, okay, sorry. There we go. I was like, what was I saying? So for you, those two things are gone, but there's something new here. And that's okay because what happens is that as we start moving through this stuff, we'll start to realize, oh, that's just fear. I've overcome this before. I can overcome it again. And it'll start to become easier. You'll start to catch it quicker and it'll resolve quicker. But I want to be very clear here that it doesn't ever just go away. Like we want to have fear, right? Like we don't want to ever never be like fearful because then something bad might happen to us. We have fear for a reason. We have healthy integrated ego for a reason, right? But just really being okay with like, oh, this is popping up now. Well, I've dealt with XYZ before. I've dealt with X fear and Y story and Z experience and it's fine. And notice just by noticing that it starts to soften a little bit, right? So for you, when you think of it feeling vulnerable and then that feeling of like fear and angst, when you look at that as a picture of you experiencing that, is that big or is it small? Just notice how your brain is encoding it. And if you guys need help with this, just let me know. I'm here. But I just want to show you guys how this works and how this makes like how this creates a dynamic where you show up in certain ways. And so I want to show you this. That's why I'm asking how big it is, right? It's small. Yeah, good. This is a perfect example. This is a perfect example. Okay. So, Krista, Margot, do you guys need help with this? Because I feel like this is a little bit advanced. I don't want to say advanced because not that you guys aren't advanced, but I just want to make sure that it's coming across like and that it makes sense. Yeah. So if you need help, I'm here. And again, I can start from like the beginning. Okay, it's good. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that first thing right? So mine was procrastination. Take that first thing that you want to stop, the thing in your business or with money that you want to stop that you feel like it's getting in the way. And again, I want you to experience it as a picture in front of you. See you experiencing the last time that you had this thing, right? Again, is it big? So basically, all I want you to do is I want you to create the opposite. So if it's big, make it small. If it's bright, make it black and white. If it's vivid, make it grainy. And notice the shifts in your body just from doing that. You'll probably yawn, your body will start to move because we're telling your brain and different levels of your brain and your consciousness how to index this information. What do you notice is happening when you start to create the opposite? And notice if it, and another big one is it'll be close. So if it's close and it feels close, push it far away. We're just doing the opposite of however you experience it. Some people feel it, some people visualize it, some people hear. Like sometimes, like when I experience this, things feel very like almost like vibrating. And so when I have that experience, I make it really small and really like wavy almost because that to me that's the opposite of vibration. Vibration to me is very overwhelming. So whatever my brain is indexing like that, it overwhelms me. And so I want to make it really small and really tiny and black and white and wavy and push it far away. What do you notice when you do that? How, what happens in your body? You'll feel a difference, right? Yeah, it relaxes. So just notice right now that that's something that you can do anytime, right? That when these things happen, when you have a habit that you don't like, stands taller. Interesting. Can does it feel safe to make it smaller? Because we're trying to make it the opposite. So if it was something like a bad habit that you want to stop and it's tall, I would think you would want to make it small, right? Does that make sense? Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, no, that's good, right? So when you're, and again, when your body language shifts, that tells me, and that's usually why I'm like, hey guys, it's, I mean, you guys get to do what you want, but it's easier sometimes for me to have cameras on so I can watch body language because it helps me show that things are shifting. Because neuroscience is the study of how the brain and body communicate. So, right now, I'm telling your brain how to code things, but you'll notice a shift in your body based on how your brain is coding it, right? But what's really interesting about this is you can actually do it the opposite. You can actually, if you're really feeling stuck and your brain won't let you change the image, you can change your body language and then change the image. So if you're feeling really stuck with this, then what, because for example, when I procrastinate, if I were to give a body language to procrastination, it would probably be this, right? So if I do this, immediately my brain is like, oh, wait, what's happening here? What's going on? Right. So then I can shift the image. Make it small, push it far away, make it black and white. And all of this call to just have fun to show you your power. And then I'm going to do something else that's even going to show you even more of your power. Because my intention, again, is just to show you that you are powerful, that you are in control, and that you have like the tools and the resources and the support to create whatever you want, experience whatever you want. Right? Okay, so just drop a thumbs up or like whatever, just so I know everybody's good before we move on to the next part. Cool. Okay. So for the next part, there's gonna probably be a little bit of resistance. You're probably gonna be like, Farron, what the hell are you having me do? Because normally I take things that are bad and I make them into good, but we're gonna play around with something. So now I'm gonna ask, that thing that I told you that was like, okay, if I'm procrastinating, then I'm beating myself up. Okay. I want you to do the opposite of that one too. So for you, Heather, it's really interesting because yours was small and now you're going to make it big and vivid and bright. And there's going to be a part of you that's like, whoa, 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 that's not safe. Don't do that. But trust me, there's a reason why we're doing this because normally we want to code that the opposite way. But I want to show you the power of this. And just if your brain and body's freaking out right now, just let it know, hey, we're going to come back to you. Farron's got it. It's fine. But your brain might and body might be freaking out a little bit right now. And that's okay. So just make it the opposite. So for me, like beating myself up, I'm going to go the opposite as well. So mine feels pretty big. So I'm just going to make it really small and black and white and grainy and push it far away. But if yours was already really big or really small and black and white and grainy and far away, bring it closer, make it bigger, make it really colorful. Notice how that feels in your body. Notice what happens. Because I'm trying to show you the way that we code things in our brain and our body does create our reality. It creates how we feel. It creates how we perceive the world. It creates how we respond. It creates how we show up. So I just want to show you the power of this, right? Yeah. So let me know kind of what's going on so we can move on to the next part when we're ready. Yes. Okay. Margot, did yours get bigger or smaller? I'm curious. Like, was it big first and then get smaller, or was it the opposite? If you want to share, you don't have to, because I know typing is like kind of a pain sometimes. I'm just curious what's been going on. Big at first and then you made it small. Okay. All right. Cool. And I just want to show you that all of you might be experiencing something a little bit different because, yours was big at first and then it got small. And Heather's was small and then it got big. But I'm going to show you this next part that it doesn't actually matter because your power and the power of what we call a resource state, which is a high emotion, a heightened emotion, like but not like excitement, like grounded. So like love and gratitude will always override whatever's going on. And this is why you'll always hear people talk about the power of gratitude. And even from like everywhere from like, people that teach mindset to Buddhist monks. And it has to do with an elevated emotion overrides and creates new neural networks. Neural networks are just how we experience a memory and it creates an emotion and a sensation, which is what the work that we do in this container. Right? So now all I want you to do is I just want you to let all the pieces fall away. So any thoughts, emotions, sensations, and any images that you have, it's almost like picture it all as a puzzle in front of you, right? And just kind of notice all the puzzle pieces falling away. And all I want you to do is I just want you to think of the good in the here and now. Just let all of those scenes fade away, drop away like puzzle pieces to the ground, like a sandcastle being washed away. And now think about the goodness that's here. Think about the goodness that you will feel and how you feel now, finally, to be free, free from all of these things that were holding you back and the consequences. And I want you to now feel your power, but not only in your brain, in your body. How does it feel in your body to create your reality? So, a person that creates her reality, how does she hold her body? Do you stand up tall? Do you unhinge your jaw? Do you breathe deep? How does it feel to be in your power? How does it feel to be rid of old habits and bad habits? Finally, moving forward in a way that's right for you, for the greatest, highest good for all. Because you already know what's right for you. And knowing that whatever these quote unquote bad habits that you have are actually just there to protect you, and that you don't have to beat yourself up for them. You can actually just say, hey, I see you, and that's okay. And then let them go. Make them small, make them grainy, make them tiny, blow them away, make them far away. And in your mind now, discover that all these traits, all these attributes, all these patterns, and all these habits, if they try to pop up again, if any of them come up again, you just become aware of them and you make them again small, grainy, black and white, push them far away, blow them away like they're just dust, right? And notice how it feels now that you can deal with things differently. Dealing with things differently now than you ever have before. Now, because your mind not only has encoded these habits differently, but that you clearly see how your brain and body codes things, communicates, and how that creates your reality. Know truly in this moment that you are in your power and that you can create your reality just by this one simple thing. The way that you are now choosing to deal with things, anything that's holding you back, has now changed. And because that's changed, what you attract in and allow yourself to experience has also changed. Take a deep breath in. Really think about that. Because the way that you deal with things has changed, what you attract in and allow yourself to experience has now changed. Notice there's this feeling of almost like space for you to experience more of the good, more money, more clients, more success, because there's just a knowing that you can handle the things that used to be holding you back. Now I want you to feel the feeling of freedom in your body. I'm so curious what freedom feels like in your body. How do you experience that? For me, my shoulders relax, my breath is deep. I literally feel expansion in my body. How does freedom feel in your body? Just notice. And now I want you to see in front of you an empowered version of you. The version of you that has this tool and is like, oh, yeah, this is so easy. I can use this all the time. That anything that comes up that she doesn't want to experience or that comes up and holds her back, she's like, oh, wait, again, How do I experience this? Oh, I can just make it small, tiny, talk really funny, black and white, grainy, blow it away, and it goes away. How does it feel in your body? And how does that version of you look knowing that you have these tools? Is she close to you? Can you see her? Can you make her bright and big and vivid? Can you bring her close to you? Can you bring her so close to you that you feel like you could just step into her, that you feel like that you just are her, that she's not a new you, she's not somebody you don't know, she's actually who you've always been. You're just remembering. She feels familiar. She feels close. Notice how she acts and holds herself as a person who is no longer triggered or bothered by things that used to bother her, that she no longer has the same fears. She no longer has the same response to the fear. She feels it. She notices it. She changes it. She moves on. And now all I want you to do is I want you to feel gratitude. Think of something that just you feel just so much gratitude towards. Feel the sensation of what gratitude feels like in your body. Holding your body as this new empowered version of yourself, breathing like this version of yourself. Feel that deep gratitude in every cell of your body and every fiber of your being. And as you think about gratitude, I want you to place your hand over your heart. And as you breathe in that feeling of gratitude through your hand to your heart. And every time you breathe in and breathe out from this day forward, you remember who you are and that those things no longer bother you, that they're just old stories and triggers and old patterns to keep you safe. They're not true, they're not real, and that you can choose differently. And actually, not only that you can choose differently, but that they're just gone like a dust ball, like blew right into the ground, pile of dust. So now I want you to notice how it feels in your body to feel free, to feel and know that you create your reality, to remember who you truly are, that you are this very powerful human, right? You are free. And you just see all the things that you want to let go of now. So I want you to imagine there's a chalkboard in front of you or a white erase board, whichever one works for you. And I just want you to imagine putting all the things that no longer serve you, that you can clearly see are getting in the way, just write them on the chalkboard in front of you, right? So mine might be like procrastination, overwhelm, overspending, overthinking, whatever. Feel being mean to myself, beating myself up. Write it all. Just write it up, get it out. Write it all out on the board in front of you. Feeling frustrated or overwhelmed or maybe triggered, being broke, not getting the results you want, feeling frustrated. And all I want you to do is, if you haven't yet, I want you to merge yourself with that higher version of you, the one that was really bright and vivid. And just notice if you want to step into her or if you want to pull her into you. It doesn't really matter. Do whichever one feels right to you. And together, as you merge, because you're really just the same person, take that eraser. Notice there's this magic eraser in your hand. And you just take it and you just start to Erase each one of those things. And as you erase them, you just notice the shifting sensations in your body of like, oh yeah, that's no longer a thing. Being broke, being frustrated, being overwhelmed, being triggered. Oh yeah, those are not even a thing. Like what? And notice like as you start to erase them, they kind of feel like they were like almost like a joke. Like they're almost like kind of funny at this point, right? And as you continue to breathe, you just breathe in this power and this embodiment and this remembrance of who you are, and that you have the power from this day forward to actually change the things that create your reality. And it really just gets to be this easy, and it really just gets to be this simple. Breathe in, breathe out, come back whenever you're ready. Yeah, feels light. You don't have to apologize. And I'm going through this in one of my mentorships right now of learning how to be apologetically me, unapologetically me, because I feel like that's why I struggle with content because I can't say the things I want to say because I'm afraid of being canceled because I'm quite sassy. And so I'm working on that too. I don't have to apologize for my success or who I am. So all I want you guys to notice right now, really quickly, is that do those old habits that were holding you back, do they feel like a problem anymore? Do you feel like you have the tools to navigate them? Do they now feel small and grainy and far away? Because they should. And then I'm curious how it feels for you to be like, oh, it was just that easy. It just gets to be that easy. I am actually in control here. So let me know how you guys are feeling. Because I want to make sure like I'm not leaving you with like a sensation or something visual that doesn't feel good, right? That's definitely not the intention here. Yeah, yeah. And the point to this is that, like I said, normally we make all the bad things small and grainy and black and white. And on your own, I love that. Expansion is a powerful place to manifest from. So this place, set your intention. What do you want? What are you manifesting? Maybe it's the amount of money you want in the next week. Maybe it's a new client. Maybe it's, but this place, that feeling of expansion is a powerful place to ask the universe for and yourself what you want. You would be surprised. And then you can literally ask it, what do I do next? What's the next most simple step? The most simple step. It doesn't have to be anything hard or big, but start getting in the habit of, yeah, it's like expansion is such a powerful word. But get in the habit of when you do this work, when these aha moments drop in, that you take action on them. That's how we bring things into reality. This is like the manifestation at its core. It's just nobody's teaching it from like the science perspective. But really, we're just tuning our reticular activating system, our prefrontal cortex to index the things that we want. It's like when you buy a specific car, then all of a sudden everybody has the same car, or you've never heard a word and then you hear it and now you hear it everywhere. That's what's happening. It's just your brain indexing information and prioritizing it. So when we do this work, when we allow our bodies to feel safe and expansive, our brain will drop in things that it's trying to get us to index and pay attention to. So, is there anything that comes forward? Is there anything of like, I'm going to reach out to that person, or I'm going to write that email, or I'm going to, whatever. Just notice what comes forward from this place, right? Because this, what we call aligned action, will never lead you astray, ever, 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 ever. And in fact, I did like a consistent cash challenge. And I went through something similar to this. And everyone that did it made a sell because taking action from a place of inspiration is really powerful. So get in the habit of knowing that you have the tools, knowing that you can just blow them away, knowing that you have this space and this container, like I hold the space for you to do this work, and that whatever comes forward from this is exactly what you need. And it just gets to be that simple. So, how's everybody feeling? I just want to make sure that nobody feels unresolved, right? So, meaning that if anything still feels big or sticky or whatever, good. Okay, good. So, the other patterns that you had, sit with them, change them, make them small, push them back. And anytime they come crawling up, you just breathe in, blow them away, and they blow back like a tumbleweed. Get in the habit of doing that and watch how much quicker you take action instead of hanging out in fear, right? Okay. I hope this was helpful. If you guys need anything in between our calls, let me know. Remember, next week we're meeting 1 hour earlier, and I think we'll probably still be in Heartbeat. Me and Krista are working on some things around the new um, platform, but we don't exactly know how we're doing everything yet. So just be on the lookout what we decide. And of course, I'll put it, in the announcements, and I'll make sure everybody has the information. But probably next week will probably just be the same thing. We'll know more this weekend when we meet up because Chris is going to come to Cabarete and we're going to have lunch and meet up. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know. And I hope this leaves you feeling expansive and empowered, right? You're so welcome. All right. You're so welcome. I hope you have the most wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.